I've always wanted to be a mom, so I was so happy. I think the circumstance that I was in was less than ideal, and it made it really hard to be as genuinely happy as I wanted to be, and as I probably felt underneath. It was definitely clouded by a lot of pain and guilt about the way that it happened. Um, but truly, I wanted to be a mom. And so even though it came in the most unexpected, like crazy whirlwind way, I was so joyful to be a mom. So my partner was super supportive at the beginning. He was like, whatever you want to do, like, I support you. Um, because of his own situation, obviously he was a little bit swayed in one direction over the other. And because I wasn't just making a decision about myself or for myself. I was trying to be considerate about him. Um, but I don't think I was trying to be considerate of the life that I was carrying, because I was considering the adults more than I was the actual child who was innocent and didn't ask to be here, right? Um, and being Christian, growing up Christian, like, a pregnancy is a gift from God, no matter what the circumstances. And underneath all of the worry, the panic, all of the emotions, positive and negative, I knew that God had his hand in the situation already. And so I was really battling my beliefs, my understanding of being a pregnant woman as a Christian woman, but also being in the situation where the father didn't want me to have the baby. And so what went from, I could really see a life with you, I want to be with you, I want this baby with you, quickly turned to, uh, this is going to ruin my life, I need you to terminate the pregnancy, like, I can't do this, like, I'm not going to make it out of this, I'm not going to survive. And so there was a lot of guilt from him onto me of like, well, my life depends on this decision, and like, ultimately you can make it, but like, I need you to consider me. I had made the appointment right before the 11-week cutoff, and I was like, I think I have to tell my mom. And so I told my mom, and she was like, you're not going to the appointment, and you're also going to call your therapist, because my therapist is also Christian. And so she was like, I need a prayer partner in this. You need to talk to your therapist and have her pray for you and give you guidance. And it was in that conversation with my therapist that she was like, well, one, you're not going to get the abortion, you're not terminating, and also there's this wonderful organization called Alpha that you should probably check out. And so I had never heard of anything at that. Up until the 11 weeks, I obviously had no idea what I was doing about anything or whatever. And so I hadn't done research, I hadn't reached out to anybody for resources. And so when she mentioned Alpha, I kept it in the back of my mind, like, okay, like, if I don't go through, then I'll reach out to these people and see, like, what it's all about, right? And so I canceled that appointment, and I told the father, and he was devastated and was continuing to pressure me. And so the pressure was so immense that I ended up making an appointment again. And so it was the 11-week cutoff, which is like really, obviously really close to like having it not work. And so like, the odds are less in your favor of it catching, which for me was really good, actually. It's exactly what I wanted. And so I went to the appointment, and the father was there, and he was trying to be all affectionate and supportive, but it felt so like such nonsense to me, because obviously we were there to do something that he wanted and something that I was so vocally against. And so I felt totally violated. And I sat there and I listened to them give their spiel, like, this is how it happens, this is what's going to happen to your body, and I was kind of like just tuning out, and I was like, I don't even want to hear it, I just want it to be done. And so they handed me the medication, and I took it, and I didn't even think about it until after, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was like there was no going back. And so I remember, like, we left, and I just sat in my car, and I had never cried harder in my life. I had felt this immediate guilt, this anger at him, this anger at myself that I wasn't strong enough to be like no, this is my body, this is my baby, this is what I want to do. I want to be a mom. Like, why are you trying to take this away from me? Why am I letting you take this away from me? Why did I do this? And so, there was the 2-week period after that where the body starts expelling everything. And so, I just remember like bleeding, but like not heavy enough for it to be of substance. And I kept questioning. I was like, well, when does it happen? Like, when am I going to lose this baby? And it was like a waiting game. And I just felt like I hadn't seen anything substantial. And they said at 11 weeks, I should see something baby-like. And so I kept looking and looking and looking. And so at 13 weeks, 2 weeks later, they ask you to come back for a scan to make sure that it's taken and that everything is, cleared out. And I walk in there and immediately I say, I'm still pregnant. And they're like, no way. And I'm like, no, yeah, like I'm definitely still pregnant. I'm telling you, like, we're going to go into that room and you're going to see it. And they're like, nah, I don't think so. And sure enough, they pull it up. The heartbeat is there. Baby is there. And I start weeping. I'm like, thank you, God. And I'm on the phone with the dad and he's crying for opposite reasons, obviously, which made me cry even harder because then it was like reassurance that I wasn't going to be supported in this and that I was going to do this alone. But at that point I decided, I said I tried it. It obviously didn't work, and this is God. God is here. God is keeping this baby, and he has a purpose, right? I think the most impactful way I can say it is that if I didn't have Alpha, I don't think Isaiah would be here, and I don't know if I would be here either. There were a lot of days that I didn't feel like I was strong enough to make it. I've dealt with being suicidal in the past, in circumstances that were much less stressful than this. This has been the most traumatic and most stressful thing of my life, but also the most beautiful thing. And I wouldn't have made it to the beautiful thing if I didn't have the support of Alpha through the stress and through the trauma. There were many days that I just said, can I come in and talk? Can you guys pray for me? I literally don't know what else to do. And just coming here, it felt like I could take all the load off, not just a load, but all of it off, and just be myself and be open and be met with so much love.